Good evening, everyone. Please hope you can hear me. I asked permission from Felicia to use voice notes, which will probably make it smoother. Hope this is okay. Okay, that is a very deep question, and the truth is, it was very difficult for me, and for quite a number of us. I got married in 2015, so I have not even had the issue of going to children's open day and all that. So, but I want to share my experience. At a point, the longest time I spent in the office was 33 hours, thereabout. 33 hours straight. Because in operation support, particularly in e-process, you had to spend a lot of time in the office because you're supporting 33 countries and across 3 time zones. And we were even understaffed already, at that time. And in my case, I was probably the only civil service expert in the whole organization. So at a stage in life, that's why I even started with the issue of solving simple problems and now solving complex problems. At a stage in life, you have to decide to take up a different role which does not consume your time as much, which does not consume your weekends, for example. You have to decide that. You have to also work hard at duplicating yourself. You have to teach people what you know so that somebody can stand in for you. You have to also voice out the need for those structures where other people are able to do what you do. Sometimes if management sees that you are up to the task, they don't want to spend on another staff. So you have to balance all those things. You now have to decide, since family is important to me, I need to look for a role that will not take this much of my time. In my case, I have to marry a wife who is willing to either do business or be a stay-at-home mom for the sake of my children. So those decisions have to be taken. So let me tell my stories for Elizabeth. The first one was from Airtel. When I was application support person supporting Remedy, there was this thing we used to do on the UAT when the license, because the license was somehow tied to the number of records we had in some core tables. So when we do our UATs on and on and on, we have to now purge the tables so that the license will be, we can keep using the UAT for that Remedy UAT area. On one occasion, I had my UAT and my live environment open on Toad. So somehow inadvertently, I was in training that week, but I came in later in the night to do some work. That was a Wednesday. Then on the Thursday, the next day, I went for my training. So when they now called me during the training about 3-4 p.m. that I had that the customers, the call center agents were saying they were not seeing a certain part of the form. They were not seeing records. They could see, let's say, they could see a ticket number, but they could not see the related documents to that ticket. So they kept complaining about that. I was wondering, what's this about? Then after I thought about it a while, it occurred to me as I left the training center that I must have dropped the tables in the live environment while using Toad to access both live and UAT at the same time. When it occurred to me, I went into a brief moment of shock. And it was about 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave or so. So the first thing I did, I called one of the DBAs that was my friend. I told him, this is what I've done. What can we do? This and that. So eventually I had to go to the office, and then the next day, and we had to use export. First of all, they did an Arman restore. We did an Arman restore of the data from the previous day, from the time the data was still intact. It was an Oracle database. Then we now had to use import and export to specifically take the data for those tables into the production gradually over the period of about 2 weeks, because they were very large tables. So that's how we recovered from that one. But one of the things I learned from that was my direct boss, immediately the issue happened, I came and explained in detail what happened, and he was appreciative of the fact that I told the exact truth about what happened with that data. So we were able to recover it because we had backups in place and because we were able to say exactly what happened. The second story is from e-process. So then at that time, we were supposed to do some archiving. So we had done some tests on it, and we decided to automate the whole process. Now, during the time, the automation, we had tested it, we had done this and that, and we decided, okay, we're going to run this script which would remove tables that were no longer in use, which we put in an Excel sheet, verified from a number of people. But the problem was there were certain relationships that these tables had with other live tables that we did not take into cognizance. So by the time we removed the tables from live, they started getting weird errors. And we now had to restore the tables. We were able to restore a number of them because this was done in the middle of the day, and these were not like, you cannot, in that case, it's financial data, you cannot restore from the previous day. You get a mess. We had, in some cases, we had to reconstruct the tables, or we had to import from the backups we had taken when we were doing the project itself. So it was a very, very messy issue, but eventually we kind of like moved out of it. The lesson from that was basically the timing of the change was not the correct timing. So the bottom line is you should be working in an environment where you can be clear and truthful about what is going on, because there are always ways around things. And it's good if you can have bosses that can understand. Bosses with technical experience are typically more understanding because they have also experienced such things before. And you should make sure you're following the processes. Follow the processes. There's a change management process. The technical process of taking your backup before you do anything. Things like ensuring that there's actually a routine backup that you are constantly testing. You need to be testing the backup. Sometimes we use sophisticated solutions. Like now, we used to use semantic net backup at some point. And we have had cases where we wish we would have just done a native SQL backup, because when you try to restore it, you have all sorts of weird things going on, things hanging, taking long, because sometimes those external third-party tools for backup don't understand what to do in the restore. So test your backups and ensure you know the procedure, tell the truth always, follow the processes, so that even when there's a mistake, it will be clear that you are not doing something that was not authorized. All right, I think I've exhausted or taken quite some time. So I'll just leave the next 5 to 7 minutes for any questions, feedback, that you may have. Thank you very much for your audience.